and get it set up, and then you go, well, you know, I talked to a lawyer once, man. He's a real cool lawyer, man. He's like a Mississippi lawyer, you know? And the Mississippi lawyer is like, I had to go to school, college, and all kind of stuff to learn all kind of stuff about law and all this stuff, man. You realize I had to go to school to learn this stuff? I can't believe you got all these gifts. And he says to him, you know, so I say to the Mississippi lawyer, I says, well, good, man. You get me home because I'm feeling kind of sick around all these sick people, man. I'm trying to figure out how to help them. So the Mississippi lawyer's like, oh, you one of them ministers? I said, yeah, man, one of them crazy ministers, man. He says, well, it's a hard job, but somebody's got to do it. And he says, man, I'll tell you what, I'll get you home, man, and see what you can do. I says, all right. He said, let the boy take over. He says, all right, let me show you how to take over. We go, this is the New International Version of the Holy Bible, you know, and some of those preachers are like, man, you know, I've been in this a long time and we didn't have all this technology, so how are we going to teach this stuff? And I says, well, you got to be excited about God. You got to be excited about the angels. We made planes and space programs and stuff so we get up there in the skies and fly like angels, man. You get excited about God, you get excited about flight. And you go, what's that? Angel Flight School, man? Come on. What's Angel Flight School? AFS, the Air Force System. Oh, you know, United States Air Force? Yeah, we got a Civil Air Patrol and everything, man. Civil Air Patrol. Why do you think they abbreviated California as CA? You know, Civil Air. You know, Civil Air. You got to talk civilly, you see? Okay. So we'll go. Everybody used to like it. When I did this thing, man, I was like, you know, you catch you on the flip side. United States Army Corps of Engineers is like, man, you ever seen this kid do catch you on the flip side thing? It's like, man, he just put the Bible open and said, we apply that, you know? Okay, here we go. You guys, the Army, he goes, man, can you teach us how to do that? And I was like, of course I can. What you gotta do is you gotta think of here, and I gotta think of here. You gotta look out here, and you say, right now I see a big American flag up in the sky, a bunch of clouds, you know, not too bad. It's a clear day. Got big blue sky over here, you know, green trees. You know, go, okay, what we got? What we got for that? I says, well, right now I see an airplane landing, look like an angel flying, you know, landing and pulling up next to the school. He says, man, I want to hear some of this. He says, okay, man, I got you. I'm gonna go, you know, it's Job's final defense, you know, Job's final defense. You know, they didn't name me Job, they named me Joseph. This is Joseph, like the translator dude, you know. So I go, Job's final defense. So the lawyer goes, man, is this guy gonna talk like that for real? He says, yeah, man, this is for the lawyers, you know. Lawyers, they argue too much in the court. So I says, the lawyer, he's like, man, you know, I had to go to school and college for all this stuff, and all these people still arguing. Can you help us out? And I says, I'll help the lawyers out. Hold on. They didn't understand Job's final defense. The final defense was the Department of Defense. The first and last line of defense is communication. So we say, the first is God, and the last is, you know, the preacher men, the ministers, the teachers, and people like that in the government. And then the first is the people, we the people, and the last is the government. When you go full circle, you get a figure 8 for an infinity, you know, infinity and beyond. That's why Star Trek said, hey, the boldly go where no man has gone before, because by the time we're done, we're all going to be angels and aliens flying through space. Okay, here we go. So we said Job's last defense, and we said, okay, you know, it's the final defense, you know, space, the final frontier. And he goes, what's the final frontier, you know? Well, it's the final frontier, you know. You got to take the finals, get other education, learn other flight school stuff, update the FAA flight manual books, because you can't use the old stuff with the new stuff, man. Those new planes and new helicopters and new space shuttle stuff, man, they're gonna be all kind of different, you know. But you can't just kick out all the old teachers, man. You got to help them too. So we're making this channel, Top Gun Flight School. Why do you think I say Top Gun Flight School 20, you know, 2022, you know, 2022, you know? I remember the teacher in high school, man. I know about all this computer programming stuff. I go to this class, took a class over the summer, and he couldn't teach it, you know? You can't expect people to go to summer school and then be caught up. And like, you know, all these people lose their jobs, they're worried about it. I'm like, well, you're worried about it, maybe you need to talk to God, because you got a minister here trying to teach you. So pay attention. So we'll go, you know. So instead of, you know, doing a summer school thing, we did like a 2019, a 2020, you know, 2019 to 2020, 2020, 2021. No, 2021, 2022. You know, does that look familiar? It look familiar, right? It's the Trinity, you know. the Trident, you know, like a U.S. Navy. Because we love all our Americans, you know, plus the world. Okay? So let's go with Job. You know, he said Navy. He said, let's get to work. He wasn't talking about just cutting grass and stuff. I'm gonna get to work for God, man, you know? Okay. There we go. You ready? And man, you know, the White House boys might have been some minister preacher people, you know? So we go. Job, the job is to continue your discourse. And you go, discourse? Well, you know, because of the discoursement, you know? You know, some people are like, they mess up and we're like, man, it's disgusting what those people did, man. Can't believe they're messing up our country. So we got to continue with the discussment, to discuss the differences, to find the solutions, okay? And that's what diplomacy is for. You say, okay, well, you know, so one word or a couple words. So we say, you know, Job, continue this discourse. You know, and you say, you mean it's diplomatic instructional services, the course, you know, for Top Gun flight school, the course, material skeleton ground framework for your educational needs. Oh, the educational system. He says, you know, North and South America, you know, ES, they finally get it. Okay. Okay, there you go. Well, you know, how I long for the months gone by. How I long for the months gone by. Have you figured that out yet? Seasons, farmland, crops, food, harvest. How I long for the months that's gone by. Because when you're out there in the desert and there's nothing to eat, whoo, there could be some hot days, you know, and you go, man, why don't these preachers teach about hell anymore? Have you been to the desert? Okay. It's hotter than hell out there, okay? So we got to have that Mars program with special facilities, air conditioning, plus, you know, greenhouses and scientists, you know, botanists and stuff like that. We have all that training of Mars mission stuff. And like, well, it's too much work. He says, well, you know, if you set the groundwork and everybody work together, maybe you get one of those diplomatic ministers out there talking all kinds of crazy cool stuff. Maybe the kids, the adults, and the old people don't feel like they're getting left behind, and everybody work together. And you go, what do you mean? Upper class, middle class, and don't ever use the word lower classmen. It's underclassmen, because the upper class, the middle class, teaching the underclassmen how to do it, man. Information technology. Jesus Christ. Okay, here we go. You ready? You know, when his lamp shone on my head, it's kind of hard to see in the dark, you know, so we made flashlights instead of torches, so people would be burning down buildings with stuff. You know, like, hey, you fall asleep, got the torch going with the lantern, gets knocked over, you know, fire, it burned people down, and like, oh man, what happened? It was an accident. So we made LEDs and flashlights, electronics and stuff, man. So it's like, okay, so when his lamp, you know, the historical informational system that was left behind by angels and aliens on the satellite system that people were trying to decode from fifth dimensional places, okay? Shone on my head, and by his light I walked through darkness. We used to have to use coal for energy, man. Not sunlight, you know. How can you use the sunlight and nuclear ashes covered the sky where you're getting no sunlight? And they're like, man, we're in darkness, the age of darkness. People were digging in coal mines to get coal to make heat and fire and wood. And, you know, it's like, man, there's no trees out there. We burned them all up with nuclear bombs, so we had to dig for coal, man. You know, you get enough pressure, you're like, man, you get coal, man. You get a lump of coal, you turn it into a diamond. Why? Because you ever seen lightning strike a sand with a lightning rod and make glass out of the sand? Well, imagine what it does when a nuclear bomb drops, okay? We don't want those kind of diamonds from the sky, okay? All right. That's the Sunday preaching, man. Yeah, some of these preachers needed some updates. And they thought they were going to lose their jobs. They're like, no, man. That's what translators are for. Now they go, that's what a Levitical priest is for? Yeah. Sometimes we'll go out there in the field of dreams and go, man, you guys lost your way. You forgot about your dreams. I want me to show you which way to go. Now, I done said it once. We got a avionics place over there, and we got a civil air patrol over there. We got a building that's wasting space you could be using for kids. And right here, man, they say touchdown. And we got a big gazebo or something over here, you know, with a double wing plane, like some old school Wright Brothers stuff, a little plaque, man, talking about air flight and how the space industry is coming along. And we got a, you know, Smithsonian Institute, in this other state, say, see the Flight Museum in North Carolina sometime, when you're taking a trip. And it says, man, and they go, hey, that's the Civil Air told about it. And they go, oh man, that's pretty cool, Air Force Station, okay? Then we'll go, oh, for the days when I was in my prime. In your prime? What are you talking about? This is a primer. Oh, for the days when I was in the prime, when people like carried the Bibles around, I'm like, man, you can't take this to school. Well, why not? You say, when he was in your prime, this is a primer. Hey, this is just a primer, man. We're priming you up for education. He says, okay, I can't take this to school. What do you mean? Taking this to school is illegal. You wonder why they ain't sending the kids to school. It's like, man, you got a smart kid, knows how to read this and not. We can't send him to school. And so the Jewish people, they got together like, hey, they're making fun of those Jewish people. Come on, man. Are you serious? He said, making fun of the Jewish people, the Indian people, the aliens, the space aliens, the angels. They're making fun of everybody arguing. He says, man, can you get that other guy? He says, where's Captain James Kirk from Star Trek, man? Can you beam him down here with Dr. McCoy and Spock? Because, somebody need to spoke up for somebody, man. Well, spoke up. Well, yeah, because some people say spoke instead of speak. You've spoken for it? And it's like, no, man. I'm spoken for by God. And they go, okay, can you send Captain Kirk down there with like one of those space alien shuttles or something to go down there to Mexico and talk to somebody? And he says, okay. Are you going to send that flaming down there? He's like, yeah, man, because some of those other families, and they ain't crazy enough to go down there. I said, we need a real crazy person to go down there. He says, well, did you meet Bill and Billy the Kid, man? The Wild West people that went down there the first time? He says, no, man. Well, they're living up in the mountains now. Okay, we're seeing Jimmy Kirk down there. He's like Jimmy Cricket, And Jimmy Cricket from Disneyland? He says, yeah, man, Jimmy Cricket, man. He's down there in Florida right now. And he says, Jimmy Cricket's down there in Florida? He says, yeah, man. We forgot about the Green New Deal, so what we did is say, well, Jimmy the Crickets. Let's make a bunch of cricket phones. Hey, I got a cricket phone right now. We're helping those preachers out, Okay, so let's go. And we say, when the Almighty was still with me, the Almighty Word of God, okay? Why is the Almighty Word of God? Because we got a lot of religions, man, and they depend on the Word. What's the Word? It's the wisdom of revivals, diplomacy. Revivals, diplomacy. Well, when education gets old, people get bored, the churches fall apart. We go, man, we got to repair the church. And then some people go, well, I got to put this really cool building over here then. What about the buildings are falling apart, man? You could just kind of fix that up, make a schoolhouse out of it or something, And oh, man, they repair the people, man. Okay. You mean the repair the people is not just in this other page over here? It says, no, man. You're weaving the fabrics of time and space together like quantum mechanics with the Word of God. So you got to have proper educational schools. So we go, okay. So I go, when the Almighty was still with me. Well, they're like lost or something, man. They forgot about doing a job. What's a job, Well, the Jewish people, they're like, we got to do something, man. Because everybody's saying it's just the Jewish people. The Jewish people are going to figure it out. And then they go, no, the Russian people. And they go, no. The Americans, man. And I'm like, no. The Chinese people, maybe it's the Japanese, Well, is somebody called North and South Korea? North and South Korea, North and South Korea, because, the Kirk boys, they were doing stuff for North and South America. Maybe we could do that too. He says, well, if you get them all over to America, we'll work it out like a big melting pot. And I was like, a big melting pot? He says, yeah, man, because we got a big desert over here we could use for, like, a practice land, and it's a diplomatic, country. Unlike any other country in the world, man, we got 50 continental United States representing like different cultures and stuff, man. That's like 50 different stuff. Why do you think we got police force for courtesy officers, man? It's like a 5-0 for the 50 states. Oh. So we do a little bit of math, a little bit of science, a little bit of social studies, and some geography, some botany stuff, and we go, oh, man, what about some space agency stuff, man? Well, we talked to those Asgards, these guardians, man. His guardians, man, and say, they were saying it real fast on Stargate, man. They said Stargate SG-1. They go, what's the Stargate SG-1? Well, we got all these symbols and stuff that nobody could understand, man, because most of those Egyptians are dead, man. So we need those translators. So we said, okay, we got some, man, on Stargate SG-1. He goes, security guards, man. One Nation Educating, SG-1. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, man. These people, there's like a... it's a security guardian, man. The guardians of the galaxy, man. So call them whatever you want, And we go, can you secure that? Yeah. pretty much, man, I say, okay. And my children were around me. Your children? That's right, man, the children, you know. Everybody goes, your children? It's like, oh, you know, a little kid over there, a little teenager over there. And what are you talking about? That's not the children of God. They have the right to become children of God if they listen to the good ideas. The good ideas, you know, yeah, the good ideas for education, man. They're like, man, now those are the children of God. You know, the children of the guards, yeah, and people guarding like good morals and ethics and stuff, man. It's like, you guys forget? So I said, okay, we're out here in the field, man. They said, you know, they want a Jesus story. Like, a Jesus story? You hear a Joseph story? And Joseph went out there in the field and said, Jesus already paid the price, man. Okay? Now we're talking about field trips, okay? So we're out here in the field like a shepherd because some of those ministers step behind the podium and they're in the church saying, I'm in the church, I'm waiting for the people to come in here. And it's like, why wait? Okay? Why wait? So we say, you know, they advance as though they're through a gaping breach. Yeah, man, a gaping breach. You know what that is? It's a breach in a line of communication, you know? I said, hey, a breach in a line of communication. That's like a flight line, man. It's like a timeline, a flight line, a quantum mechanics line. You know, you got past, present, future, all bending in time on together, man. And like, man, what do we do? And so, space agency, man. Time cops and stuff. Time cops, you know, like, you know, the Christ, the wisdom, man. Okay, so we got that figured out. You know, amid the rooms, they come rolling in. Terror is overwhelming. Terror is overwhelming. That's some reverse stuff, man. Who put that in there, man? You know, you're a child of God, man. You got God on your side, man. You ain't terrified of nothing, man. It said terrors overwhelm you. You know what the terrors for us is? Watching these people throw their lives away, man. That's what the terror is. They're like, man, I can't believe they're throwing their lives away like that. And here you got these geniuses, man. These geniuses that could be doing all this stuff to help people out. And they're like, man, the parents have a genius kid. They're like, God, why you give me a genius kid? I can't take him to school. God forbid one of these other crazy families try to kidnap him because, hey, that's a genius kid. We need to take him. You know? That's the truth. You know? You want to hear the truth? That's the truth. You say, okay. But what about those Jewish people? Well, the Jewish people said, hey, they're messing with all the kids that are smart. So we'll get this family and we'll name them Joseph, Priest Tone. Here's all the different tones and languages. Kirk for the elderly church of Scotland, like the Scotland Yard, which is the best police on the face of the planet, alongside of the British intelligence, okay? There you go, there's some talk about, right? And they say, you want to make fun of the Jewish people, like, well, some Jewish people are good, and some Jewish people are bad. With a lack of understanding technology and computers and computations, you know, Hitler was like, we gotta just burn them all. We say you can't do that. I mean, we already did that once before, and it wasn't the Jewish people, it was all the people, when we dropped like bombs everywhere, man. So you can't do that. So he says, well, what can we do? And we says, well, we still got those logistics things, you know, where we do logically deductive reasoning. And we says, yeah, okay, we'll make a really good joke then. We say, you got Jewish people? Well, we got Jewish and Jowish people, okay? Like Joseph, okay? So I say, you know, my safety advantage is like a cloud. That's right. Why play the safe side, man? Play the God side, you know? You're going to fly up in the sky and say, hey, I'm going to get closer to God, man, in that universe he was talking about. There's like a multiverse of stars up there. So we built planes, man, and said, forget the safety of the ground, man. We're flying up through the clouds. And when we're done flying through the clouds, we're going to fly through space. And somebody said, you know, one of those smart aleck girls one time, they said, hey, you take a long walk off a short pier? And we said, yeah, we sure can. We built a space shuttle. I go, okay. And I go, you know, he said, I made my covenant. We go to Job 31. He said, I made my covenant with my eyes, not to look lustfully at a young woman. For what is our lot from God above, our heritage from the Almighty on high? A lustful woman. That's the lustful country, man. You know what a lustful country is? These people are so whacked out, they have no idea what God was talking about. Real history, y'all. You know, like Australia and Africa got all those desert lands. America over there in the west, you know, southwest. They got deserts out there too, man. They saw all those trees and crops and goodies. And they're like, man, their eyes were bigger, bulging out of their head like crazy aliens. You guys ever watch Lion King with the hyenas? And go out there and they just eat everything up, man. They forget about putting stuff back, you know. So like, they're unruly kids, you know. And I go, hey, if my heart has been enticed by a woman, the blessings of the promised land, you know, grass, trees, stuff, building supplies, education, you know, and oh, I got distracted. It's pretty bad. Do we put it back together? Maybe. And then they go, what about the other distraction? I go, well, the other distraction is, you know, breaking communication. You know, got barriers in communication. He says, no, you know, breaking communication, yeah, that's a distraction, man, because you got to figure out how to get people working together again. So we're like, okay, let's have a fun day Sunday then. Well, what's fun? Well, it's for uniting nations, man. Like the 50 states can do it, the whole world can do it. The 50 states can do it, the whole continent can do it, and then the whole world can do it. Either way, it doesn't matter. You know, for Christ's sake, FC for continent. Now, if you ever see the FAA, you know, Federal Aeronautics Association, the Federal Angel Association, and you know what the, you know, for FCA, you know, for Christ America, the entire continent, for continental America. You start to understand now, okay? Now, I'll go to this other one over here. It's your fun day Sunday, you know, and then say, this is in Isaiah, man. It says, you know, Isaiah, I don't know, somewhere around 66 verse 10, you know, is that it? Yeah, man. It says, rejoice with Jerusalem, okay? Hey, did Jeru in that kangaroo court Salem for the U.S. Navy? Yeah, we're a bunch of crazy sailor ministers too, man, okay? So, and be glad for her. For who? You know? Be glad for her, you know? Heaven's educational revivalist, man. The biggest revival the world's ever seen, okay? Now, oh, you who love her. The heavens, man, okay? Now, in verse 11, you know, a one-to-one with God, you know, you see the 11, everybody sees the 11, it says, I'm on 9, I'm on 10, I mean, I'm on 11, man, as a one-to-one with God. So here you go, you ready? For you will nurse and be satisfied at her comforting breasts. You know, it says sometimes, you know, Sherlock Holmes say the game is afoot, and then they go, well, something is a breast. Well, what is something as a breast? Well, you know, if you have the proper mind, and the proper educational structure, and the proper teachers, and the proper economical systems to fix the ecological places, where you go, something's abreast, man. Must be those proper thoughts going into the heart that's in the beneath your breast, man. Look, got a heart in there somewhere. Hey, did you guys get that? You know, another dimension kind of thing. You know, fifth dimensional structures. You know, this is like a, you know, the architect, man. You know, they try to change the word so much, but you know, we got some of those time travelers. They come through and change the words a little bit every now and then. You know, and you got to translate it for you. You know, fifth dimensional stuff. You know, like quantum physics. So we say, okay, we will nurse and be satisfied at her comforting breast. The heart of the promise of America, the promised land. Plenty of cattle, food, grass, you know. Hey, you see I Am Legend? It says, I have food, I have comfort, I have safety. FCS, you know, for Christian service, you know, for Christ service, you know, first come, serve, okay? You know, and then you say it backwards, right? Space Camp, Florida. Hebrew, Space Camp, Florida. And did you forget about the Colombian Mountains? South Carolina, Florida, you remember? Naval Weapons Station for the Northwest System of California. Everything we've been together. We're going to have a good time today, huh? So it said, I wrote in here some of the words you might have forgot. Believe, okay? Restorative educational angels. Still, okay? Heaven's education restoring teaches solutions, okay? And you will drink deeply not just of knowledge, because you drink knowledge, it says above all else, you'll get wisdom. You will drink deeply of the wisdom of the land, you know, the fruits of the harvest of good education. So you say, okay, and you go, well, you know, and delight in her overflowing abundance. Overflowing. You've been out to them deserts, ain't nothing overflowing out there but sand right now. So it's what the Mars mission's about, and that's what we're gonna do, right? Then the overflowing is, you see those treetops? The overflowing is when the wind has trees and bushes and palm trees and all kinds of stuff. So when the overflowing forces of the waters above, which is the atmosphere and stuff, try to push down in the winter, it doesn't come all the way down to the ground and blow around like 200-mile-an-hour winds and stuff out there in the desert, you know, and making sandstorms and tornadoes and stuff. And then you try to blow some snow to calm that down, you know, to make the air a little thicker to keep it from, you know, caving in on the planet, you know, losing the atmosphere and stuff, you know. So you overflow, you know, will flow over the treetops and not destroy the land, you see. And that's the overflowing abundance of the wisdom of God. Okay? Sunday fun day, I told you, a little bit of biblical stuff. Now, let me tell your preachers to go preach about that.